Hello, my name is Jennifer Perry. Welcome back to my scrap room. Today we're going to be working out of the Holiday Expressions catalog. This catalog is available from September 1st until December 31st of 2018. We're going to be working with a card kit that I have been waiting a very long time to play with. It is called Bestie Therapy, and when I first saw this card kit at convention, I fell in love. So I have held it off because I wanted to feature it in the same month that Close to My Heart is featuring the papers, so that if there was any other artwork or anything, you could go to Close to My Heart and find all the other artwork that goes with these papers. But it's been burning a hole in my little pocket wanting to play with this. So the workshop is on page 72. It is called Bestie Therapy Card Kit. The item number is G1167, and these cards, it comes with everything you need to make these cards, and it works out to $1.83 per card. You can't beat that. You really can't beat that. So today we're going to be working on the cutting guide that goes with these cards. So if you're familiar with Close to My Heart and you understand how the cutting guide works, go ahead and stop the video right here, and I'll be filming the assembly portion next, so it should be dropping on the very same day. So if you are used to the cutting guide, you know what you're doing, hop on over to the assembly portion of the videos. But if this is your first time with Close to My Heart, or you're not real familiar with your cutter and you're just kind of nervous about it, stay with us. We're going to go ahead and cut everything down, and then we assemble everything in the next video. So let me scooch everything over. I have the window open, so if you hear me squeal and move very quickly, it means some paper has gone flying. But it is a semi-warmish, coolish type day. There's a cool breeze running into my room at the moment, and these lights get hot, so I've got the window open. But on the flip side of that, my paper flies around. So we have 2 sheets of the stripe and polka dot. We have 1 cardstock of the pixie, 1 cardstock of the raspberry, 1 white daisy, and 1 clover. Okay, let's do it this way. So the very first cut we're going to do, let me scoot some things out of my way, is we're going to cut the zip strips off of the papers. And we need the zip strips, so we're going to keep them. I thought I had everything where I needed it, but I don't, because I forgot my trimmer has to move up some so you guys can see. Can you still see? Yes. So we're going to cut the zip strips off. Now the very first cut that we need is a half a cut, or a half a cut. That's going to be good. I'd like to know how to do a half a cut too. So the zip strip is already at a 1/2 inch width, so we're just going to cut it at 1 1/4. So there's the 1, there's the 1/4, and we need 6 of these. This is a tiny cut, so sometimes it's hard to hang on to. Okay, there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this goes into tray 1. I'm going to set this aside because that's scraps. And we're going to do the very same cut with this one. And this one goes in the 2 pile. So our first cut with the B&T is going to be, this is considered the front side, and it is going to be 2 1/4. How many of those do we need? 1, 2, we need 3 of those. So 2 1/4, 2 1/4, and 2 1/4. Set this aside because we still have to make some cuts. And the second cut is going to be 5 1/2. I'm sorry, 5 1/4. This is scraps. Last one. So these are going to go into the 1 pile. So this is going to be 2 1/2 by 2 1/4. So we're going to do the 2 1/2 cut first, and we need 2 of those. This is scraps. And then we're going to turn it and do 2 1/4. And actually on this one, this is considered the front. So 2 1/4. And we need 6 of these. That's 5. This is scrap, and this is 6. And this is scrap. And these are also going to go in the 1 pile. Our next cut this is considered the front, and it's going to be 1 1/2. I'm going to make that cut 3 times. This is going to be scraps, so I'm actually going to take all this and put it on top of it and set it aside. And then we're going to turn this and do 5 1/2. This is scraps. And these are going to go in the 2 pile. So for the green, or the clover, we're going to do the 2 1/4 first. So 2 1/4 3 times. This is going to be cut in just a moment. Then we're going to turn this and do 5 1/4. This is scraps. And these are going to go into the 2 pile. And then our next cut is going to be 2.5, and we're going to cut it twice. And then we're going to turn it and do 2 3/4, and we need 6 of those cuts. And this is going to be scraps. And this goes into the 1 pile. So for our pixie, we need 1/4 of an inch 3 times. So remember, when I'm working with the 1/4, it's easier for me to go on this side so that the paper has more support on that side. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to cut it again at 5.5. That was angled just a little bit, so I wanted to get a straight cut, which is why I flipped the paper over. This is going to be in the 2 pile. And then we are going to do 2.5 by 2.5. So we're going to cut 2.5 twice. This is scraps. And then we're going to flip it and do 2.5 6 times. And this is going to go into the 2 pile. Next is raspberry. And you know what? Time out for one moment. This uses such a small amount of raspberry. I'm going to go dig in my scraps spot and pull out some scrap, and then I can just keep this as a full sheet and not have to cut it. So I will be right back. So if you do not have a scraps bucket, please consider making yourself one, because instead of cutting up a full sheet of paper for such a tiny little cut, I'm able to go dig in my scrap bucket, get a scrap piece of raspberry, and I can make all of these cuts with just this, and I still have a full sheet of cardstock for a different project. So this cut is going to be 1/2 inch by 1/4. So again, I'm going to work on this side because it's just a little bit easier for me. And I'm just going to cut a few of these. I need 6, so let's start with that and see how many we get. 1 1/4. 1, 2, 3. This one scraps, and because it's such almost the same size. I'm going to go ahead and pitch this one so I don't get it all mixed up and then wonder why I can't find the correct cut. Really? One, two. Then my blade split, so I'm going to cut another sheet. Three. Okay. So again, I was able to get all of these cuts out of one little piece of scrap without wasting a whole sheet of fresh cardstock. So this is going to go into the 2 pile. For the white daisy, I went ahead and did all of the cuts already, and I did all of the stamping because I wanted to go through and emboss and just give this a little bit more dimension. So I just put on a book, made the cuts, and just embossed until my little heart was content. Did the stitched circle dies. I think this is a 3/4 of an inch. I went ahead and run those through the Big Shot, but before I did that, I stamped all of the hearts, and then I embossed all of the hearts again to give it a little bit more dimension, and then I ran it through the Big Shot. So those are done too. So for me, the white cardstock is done. So this concludes the cutting guide. Let me clear the decks and I will join you again in just a few minutes with the assembly portion of the video. That's going to be next. So see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.